Scream is a fantastic meta-horror classic directed by Wes Craven, and it has one of the greatest opening scenes of all time. Now, I should preface this by saying that for the younger viewers, this movie takes place in 1996, so you were going to see a lot of people answering calls on a landline phone with no caller ID. It's weird and it sucked, but honestly, we didn't know any different. You're probably asking yourselves, why the hell would you even answer a call if you didn't know who it was? Because we were disgusting. I don't know what else to say, so let's just not dwell on it. But if someone called, you had to answer it because you couldn't not find out who was calling. Like, what if it was something important? But just for the record, I haven't answered a phone call in like 10 years, and I have missed nothing of any consequence. If you need to get a hold of me, send me a text, which I will read, lightly chuckle to myself, respond in my head, and then never actually get back to you. Scream begins with high schooler Casey Becker settling in for a night alone at home when she receives a call from what she thinks is the wrong number. She tells the caller that he has the wrong number and hangs up, and the caller calls back again and tries to flirt with her, and she hangs up again. Then the phone rings for the third time, and just like every conversation that was ever conducted on a landline phone, this one turns weird and creepy. The caller begins to ask Casey what her favorite scary movie is.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Halloween.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Why? You want to ask me out on a date?
I have never been this lighthearted and easygoing on a phone call when I actually knew who I was speaking to. Like back when I would answer phone calls, if I didn't know who you were, I 100% assumed it was a prank call. The caller then asks what her name is.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
I want to know who I'm talking to.
Like, it's just so good. With the dog barking right as he says it. Just phenomenal. Casey hangs up and is understandably freaked out and, oh my god, Casey, you don't have to answer it. It's gonna be that guy again.
Yes?
I told you not to hang up on me.
Okay, so she hangs up again and is really starting to get scared and, Casey, don't answer it. But it could be important. Like, what if your parents were in an accident? Or you won a sweepstakes or something? All right, let's roll the dice.
Listen, asshole!
No, you listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
Nope, he was a bad guy. I mean, we really should have seen that coming. My bad. So Casey runs around and locks all the doors, and why weren't they locked to begin with? You were home alone at night in a giant house, seemingly in the middle of nowhere. I'm an adult, and I'm recording this at 1 in the afternoon, and every door is locked, and my garage door is shut. Casey says that her boyfriend will be there soon, and the caller's all like, oh, you mean this guy? And the caller says that he wants to play a game with Casey. Casey has to answer horror movie trivia, and if she gets an answer wrong, then her boyfriend dies.
In Ernest Scared Stupid, what is Ernest's occupation?
He was a garbage man.
I'm sorry, that's the wrong answer.
Then I saw that movie 20 goddamn times!
Then you would know that when Ernest is talking to Mayor Murdoch, he clearly states he's a sanitation worker.
And then they murder Steve for his girlfriend's movie trivia ignorance. Gatekeeping in the horror community needs to stop. People should be allowed to enjoy things without being experts on it. And also, she could be an expert. You don't know. Like, ask me any question when I'm terrified. I won't know the answer. Hell, ask me any question when I'm mildly in a hurry.
Final question. What door am I at?
And that is not trivia, that is just a pure guess. Ask more movie stuff. I remember one time I went to a trivia night and one of the categories was guess the flavor of jelly beans. And they passed out bags of jelly beans, and I was like, this isn't real trivia. And I seemed to be the only one who was pissed. It also took forever. That was like 8 years ago, and I'm still mad about it. Casey sees her parents' car coming up the drive, but before she can alert them, the killer chases her down and stabs her to death and hangs her from a tree. Like, Drew Barrymore is on the poster, and she was like a major part of all the marketing. Like, just excellent surprise right out of the gate. Top-notch way to start a movie. And it only gets better. Also that night, we meet high schooler Sydney Prescott as her boyfriend Billy Loomis sneaks in through her window. Sydney's dad comes in and says that he's going out of town for the weekend, and Sydney and Billy begin to make out, but she stops him when he tries to go too far. And Billy laments the fact that they aren't as hot and heavy as they used to be, but he respects her wishes and leaves without pushing it further. What a good guy. The next day, the news media descends upon Woodsboro High School to report on the brutal double murders of 2 teenagers. Seems really insensitive of the media, and also extremely likely that the media would do this. And the police begin interviewing all students and faculty to try to gather any clues about who may have committed the murders, including Sydney, whose own mother was brutally raped and murdered just a year before. Along with Billy is Sydney's best friend Tatum, Tatum's boyfriend Stu, and fifth wheel Randy. We learn that Stu used to date Casey Becker until Casey dumped him for Steve. Randy teases him that he's a suspect, but Tatum says that Stu was with her last night. After school, Sydney goes home to pack her stuff to spend the night at Tatum's house while her dad's out of town. Sydney falls asleep on the couch and Tatum calls to say that she's running late. The phone rings again and it's the killer. and he begins to talk about the murders, and she thinks it's Randy prank calling her.
Randy, that's so unoriginal. I'm disappointed in you.
Maybe that's because I'm not Randy.
Now this frightens Sydney because all Randys have to admit that they are Randys if asked point blank. It's just like how an undercover cop has to say that they're a cop if asked. The killer then says that he's on the front porch, but she calls his bluff and goes out there.
Nice try, Randy. Tell Tatum to hurry up, okay? Bye now.
If you hang up on me, you'll die just like your mother.
Randy! The killer was actually calling from inside the house and attacks Sydney when she goes back inside. She tries to run out the front door, but she's hoisted by her own petard and... What? Shakespeare. Well, excuse me for trying to class it up, Daryl. She manages to make it to her room where she contacts the police and the killer runs away. Just then, Billy climbs through the window and a cell phone falls out of his pocket. And is that a Nokia? If so, then that thing would have put a dent in the floor. Hollywood is so fake. And so Sydney is immediately suspicious of Billy because in 1996, cell phones were not that common, especially ones that small. Like I remember my dad had a car phone, and it came with his own little briefcase because it was freaking massive. Sydney runs from Billy, and the police have already arrived, and they place Billy in custody. At the police station, Tatum's brother Dewey informs Sydney that they're unable to locate her father. The police decide to hold Billy until the cell phone records come back. Sydney goes to Tatum and Dewey's house when Tatum's mom tells Sydney that she has a phone call.
Telephone, honey. My dad? I don't think so.
If I was at a friend's house and a phone call came in for me and it wasn't my parents, then again, it was always someone else I went to school with prank calling me. Like, am I the only one who has nothing but bad memories about landline phones? I mean, hell, one time I was at Bo Rick's getting my hair cut, and the lady at the front desk looks at me and she's like, you have a phone call. And I answered, and some dude was like, Adam, it's your dad. It clearly wasn't my dad, but he was like, I want you to get a flat top. And I was all like, what? And he's like, I want you to get a flat top haircut. And I was like, okay. And then I hung up, and I just got my normal haircut after that. And still to this day, I have no idea who that was. And guess what? That weirdo could still be out there. Like, part of me almost wishes it was some weird pervert making sexual advances. That you could at least explain. This is just some dude who wanted me to get a flat top haircut. It's 1,000 times weirder. So Sydney answers the phone, and of course it's the killer, and he taunts her and tells her that she fingered the wrong guy again.
What?
Told you never to disturb me when I'm cleaning my room. And also, what the hell, Mrs. Riley? Sydney has been tormented by menacing phone calls all week, and you not only tell them, yep, she's here, but then you make her take the call? Have some situational awareness. Mom, why did you make Sydney take that phone call? Well, some man called and asked me what my favorite scary movie was, and I said, whatever happened to Baby Jane? And he just started stammering, saying it wasn't a horror movie. And then I said, well, Bette Davis gave me nightmares in that role. And then he just sighed loudly and demanded to talk to Sydney. What else was I supposed to do? We learned that Sydney was the key witness in the case against Cotton Weary, who is now on death row for the rape and murder of Sydney's mother. Sydney confronts reporter Gail Weathers, who wrote a book about the murders of Sydney's mom, and Gail doesn't believe that Cotton Weary killed her. Cotton claims that he was having an affair with Sydney's mother, and he did have sex with her that night, but he left his coat behind, and Gail believes that Sydney witnessed the real killer leaving wearing Cotton's coat. And Gail is also convinced that the murder of Sydney's mom and the current murders are all related. And Billy is released from jail because his cell phone records came back clean. And in an idiotic and again totally believable turn of events, the media then releases the costume that the killer was wearing, thereby making the police's job that much more difficult. And to highlight why you don't release that information, 2 punks run around the school in the exact same costume as the killer. Principal Hembry expels those students, and then after they leave, he gets murdered by the real killer. The police issue a 9 p.m. curfew, and so the students decide to have a party at Stu's house. So the curfew begins, and man, this dude is very panicked and scared, and look, he had his wife come get him. Hurry up, Harold! Just shut up and drive, woman! Go, go, go! The police discover that the calls were all made from Sydney's dad's cell phone, and they're actively trying to track him down. Okay, well, not these two, but someone's looking for him. The party at Stu's house begins, and Dewey checks out the party with Gail Weathers, and Gail plants a camera in the house. When Tatum goes to the garage to get beer, the killer follows her and kills her in one of the ways that I'm always afraid I'm gonna die. Like, I don't have a cat door in my garage door, but I am fully aware of the other ways that I could become stuck in a garage door and then get utterly smushed when it goes up. And that's not even the weirdest way I'm afraid of dying. I'm also afraid that I'm gonna get crushed by a vending machine if I try to shake it when it won't drop my item. And if I have to take an elevator, I will quickly enter and exit before the cable can snap and cut me in half. I'm afraid of jumping from a tall building. I'm not talking about suicide. I'm talking about that thing when I'm really high up and I get the feeling that it's like so easy to jump. It's legitimately terrifying. And I suffer from sleep paralysis. And for years, there has been a ghost or demon that has been walking down the hallway toward my bedroom. And one time, it peeked its head around the corner. and I fear that if it ever enters my room, my heart will explode. I am what is known as an anxious person. So what are some of the weird ways you think you're gonna die? So the party begins to break up after an hour and a half, as high school parties usually do, and Jesus, Billy, a big weirdo? So Billy and Sydney go upstairs to talk, and the rest of the party settles in to watch Halloween.
It is easy to go down into hell. Night and day, the gates of dark death stand wide. Whoa! Ow! I seem to have been swallowed by a sinkhole or something. Can anyone hear me? Oh, I think I twisted my ankle. Is anyone out there? I am in a hole.
Predictable. I knew he was gonna bite it. I'll kill you if this is a joke.
Hello, Laurie. Will you walk into my parlor? Said the spider to the fly. 'Tis the prettiest little parlor that ever... You did not just hang up on me.
How can you watch this shit over and over?
Well, Miss Strode. It appears the best laid schemes of mice and men go off the rock. Oh my god, is there a knitting needle sticking out of my neck? Oh my god! Oh my god, that hurts so much.
Randy tells them all the now classic rules to survive a horror movie.
Number 1. You can never have sex. Sex equals death.
And so the only person to get out of that one was Lisa's dad in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Like, he had sex and he survived till the end. He even got a shot off on Freddy. But in all honesty, the things that dude did to his wife would hardly be considered sex, so it looks like he found a loophole.
Number 2. You can never drink or do drugs.
Just like huff a bunch of gasoline. Boom.
And number 3. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
Say something like, I'll catch you on the flippity-floppity, dick. And rule number 4, no bare feet. Dewey and Gail go to check out an abandoned car down the road and discover that it's Sydney's dad's car, and they race back to the party. At the party, Randy answers the phone at Stu's house. Again, the 90s people loved to answer any phone that was ringing. And whoever calls the house tells them that they found Principal Himbry gutted and hanging from the goalpost, so the rest of the party clears out to go check it out. Sydney and Billy have sex, and immediately after, the killer shows up and murders Billy. I mean, Billy did violate rule number 1 after all. And he took his shoes off to have sex, so he violated rule number 4 as well. And Sydney runs out and locks the door. And is it just me, or is this the least secure door lock ever? I hate this door lock. This is the worst door lock that has ever been invented. And it's usually the door lock to a bathroom. And if I'm at someone's house and the bathroom has this lock, I can't. I just can't. I don't trust it. I mean, hell, I don't even really trust the push-button locks. You know, the ones where you have to turn the knob to unlock it? Like, what if they installed it backwards? Sydney falls out the window and discovers Tatum dead and runs away. And she takes refuge in the news van. But the killer slits Kenny the cameraman's throat, and Sydney manages to get away again. Dewey and Gail make it back to the house, and Dewey goes inside to investigate.
The time has come for... I missed? Oh, I need to cut bigger eye holes in this thing.
Gail finds her cameraman dead and drives off when Sydney runs in front of the van and causes Gail to crash. Chalk that up to an oops on Sydney's part. Sydney makes her way to the house, and Dewey comes out and collapses with a knife in his back. And Sydney fights off the killer and grabs Dewey's gun and locks Stu and Randy out of the house, and they both claim that the other one is the killer. Billy stumbles down the stairs, still alive, and we finally get to the big reveal.
Corn syrup. Same stuff they use for pig's blood in Carrie.
Surprise, Sydney.
That holy shit, Billy and Stu were committing the murders together.
See, we ask you a question, and if you get it wrong, booga! You die.
They also reveal that they were the ones who killed Sydney's mother and framed Cotton Weary.
Why did you kill my mother?
You hear that, Stu? I think she wants a motive. Did they ever really decide why Hannibal Lecter liked to eat people?
Yeah, something about Nazis tricked him into eating his sister. I haven't seen that movie in a while.
We did your mom a favor, Sid. That woman was a slutbag whore who flashed her shit all over town like she was Sharon Stone or something.
Yeah, it would put her out of her misery, because let's face it, Sydney, your mother was no Sharon Stone.
And the poor lady whose photo they used for Sydney's mom, she's a pretty lady.
Your slut mother was my father, and she's the reason my mom moved out and abandoned me. How's that for a motive?
And even Stu appears to be hearing this revelation for the first time. And I know he's a psycho and doesn't have much credibility, but they're not leaving much wiggle room to debunk the theory that Sydney's mom was kind of a slut.
You see, Sid, everybody dies but us. Everybody dies but us. We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel, because let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.
And also, Matthew Lillard's performance is fantastic. He just has that psychotic, manic energy, just screaming and spitting. And if they would have filmed this during the coronavirus, His performance would have had to have been scaled back, and that would have just been a crime. Billy and Stu have Sydney's dad tied up, and they're going to frame him for the murders, but not before they stab each other and make it look like they were victims. And so Stu stabs Billy once, and Billy stabs Stu like 4 times. When they realize Sydney and her dad are gone, Sydney calls the house and tells them that she called the police.
Did you really call the police?
You bet your sorry ass I did.
My mom and dad are gonna be so mad.
So if your plan works, how are you going to explain to the cops why you're covered in corn syrup and feathers? Just then, the real killer jumps out and stabs Billy with an umbrella and... oh my god, Sydney was the real killer. That's a twist I didn't see coming. Stu runs out and attacks Sydney, but she gets the upper hand and crushes his skull with a TV. And not just any TV. This is a mid-90s tube TV. That thing probably weighs a good 200 pounds. Billy comes to and he's about to kill Sydney when Gale shoots him. But Billy comes back for one last jump scare and... I don't know, he's a remorseless killer and all, but he was basically incapacitated at this point. Sydney kind of just executed him. Now the question remains, who killed who? Like, did Billy and Stu take turns being the killer while the other one handled phone duties? Because we know that it was Stu the majority of the time during the party, and I'm going to guess that it was Stu that killed Tatum just because, as Randy said,
There's always some stupid bullshit reason to kill your girlfriend.
and it would have been difficult for Billy to walk through the house unseen. And the attack on Sydney had to have been Stu also, because unless the editing lied to us, then there was no way for Billy to make it outside and up to Sydney's window. And I'm going to guess that the attack on Casey was most likely Stu, because as we learned earlier, Casey dumped Stu for Steve, so again, he kind of had a motive there. And I'm certain that Billy was the one that killed Sydney's mom, because she saw who she thought was Cotton Weary leaving, and Cotton and Billy both have similar hairstyles and similar body types. And as for Tatum saying this...
Stu was with me last night.
He could have easily just gone there right after he killed her, just like Billy did at Sydney's house. And so Billy's the one who really had the main motivation in this, but it seems like Stu did all the legwork. And also, which one was just walking around in broad daylight stalking Sydney? I mean, I know the theory there, but we can't talk about it till Scream 3, so that was Scream, a fun little meta horror that spawned several sequels that became so increasingly meta that it's really difficult to keep everything straight. At least for me, because my brain doesn't work.